Y'all ever heard the idea of safe horny? uh, you know, when I was a kid, I always was told that, when it comes to, well, I don't want to say liberalism because it's not, they're not liberals, but, I always told that when it comes to accepting different lifestyles, of which I did, uh, one of those things was don't judge people for their sexuality. People still say it to this day. But and then you hear stuff like safe horny, which, from what I have essentially gathered, there are a couple of uses of it. But the big one, the one that, or one of the ones that irritates me is essentially you have your non-safe sexualities, ones that aren't good to show in public, which if you ask people most of the time is just, being straight, masculine guy who's dominant, submissive, feminine woman. That most of the time is, the bad stuff, or, well, often well, you get your base ones. That one's usually considered just stock standard, bad across the board by a lot of these people who use this term. But then you get stuff like, I guess it bleeds into the other one is gayness. It's okay to be gay, but only if you have the right political leanings. I mean, look at the way people who are left-leaning, which is usually the people who use this kind of term, look at the way they treat people who, are conservative gay people or conservative trans people. They just go fucking crazy. Essentially, you get people acting like bigots when they're calling you a bigot. You know, and then you get ones that to me just seem ridiculous. Like, for instance, it's not considered safe to be a femboy because that's trans exploitation. I thought trans people and cross-dressers weren't the same thing. Or, femboys and trans people weren't the same. I thought those were different things. Hell, technically, all three of those are different, though. Sometimes you get a little overlap. But, it's like, it feels like old school conservatism, at least in that one. Or, more often the case, you get, I guess the way I'm trying to say it feels like people basically just want to, I guess it depends on which sexuality and reason for disliking that sexuality being shown in public, but there are some people who, hell, you get the friggin' trans person arguing that, a guy fell in love with a girl who's, got a vagina, and it's like, they keep arguing about it until the point where you feel like they just want to fuck that person, and it's policing people's relationships, basically, is what it feels like. As well with that, oh, you can be gay, just don't do it in public, but then they proceed to almost fuck their fucking wife in public, basically. Or damn near close to it. It's like that, but with a political side to it, because a lot of the times what dictates whether it's okay or not is not based on, relationships or like dynamics of relationship or anything. It's political. Well, I guess politics can be a dynamic of the relationship, but these people will straight up say that you could have two people, two groups of people, two couples. They can be identical in every way, but one of them are conservative and one of them are left-leaning. And these people who use this term will straight up tell you that the conservative couple should not, they basically don't even want them to be dating most of the time. A lot of times they'll straight up say, basically they try and low-key say you shouldn't be allowed to have kids or be happy in that way. Some of them get crazy about it. And it's like, it just feels wrong to me, It's like, I thought you guys had said all this time that telling someone their relationship was not safe and shouldn't be publicly shown was terrible. Of course, you guys being leftists, far lefts, not like liberals or like anything like that. No, liberalism, hardcore liberalism is smack in the center, but oh well. But it just feels, it's just terrible. I want you guys tell me what you feel about this. I'm it melts my fucking brain thinking about it. It's like, ugh. when who puts their penis inside of you is considered a friggin' political statement. Jesus. Guys, I can't even vote when I have all that in the way, man. I can't even breathe. But, hell, fucking, some people would consider that joke to be okay, or not okay, depending on your political belief. Though, really, other than people making things that shouldn't be political, I guess that's really it. I guess it's just more something to be annoyed at and awful. But if you ever see someone use that, well, I wouldn't say be an ass to them or treat them any other way, but be very cautious. It's hell, downright predatory, because some people consider it okay, like, say me and some other guy are fawning over someone. Some people would consider it un-okay for me to do it because I don't have the right political beliefs, whereas the other guy does. Therefore, he can sexualize other people. And that version, which I forgot to mention until now, that one's the real predatory one. But even the lighter ones feel pseudo-predatory, really. I mean, look at the way people talked about, back in the 2000s and shit. People were like, oh, don't, if you said being gay was dangerous, not even in the sense that you would make it dangerous for them, which is bad, don't do that, but just pointing out the fact that people would be an ass to you, some people would consider that as intimidation, just mentioning that to some people. And then now you got people doing that. People saying, oh, you straight? Do you take it up the ass? Is your wife the only one? Well, then that's toxic. You can't do that. It's like, well, who are you? Fucking, what was his name? I forget that pastor. Hell, I think it was a pastor. I don't even know nowadays. Guys like fucking, oh, it's your prerogative to stick your nose in the relationship status of other people. It's like, no. Except the Marxists took him up on that. Jeez. Terrible. So, I'm just rambling at this point. Let me know if you think this is fucking predatory or not. Let me know your opinions, if anybody bothers to. If anybody even watches this. Don't be an ass. Don't tell someone they have to suck your dick because you have the right politics, but that other guy, you don't want to date him. He's a conservative. You want to date me? Whatever. Leave it in the comments. See you next time. Assuming I haven't been fucking shot.